This is Allie Edwards and welcome to December Daily for 2021. Over the next 25 days or so, I will be sharing story ideas with you and taking you along with me while I work in my December Daily album for this year. My approach is the same as it's been for a number of years, which is simply to tell one story per day. That story might have happened yesterday, it might have happened last week, it might be something I'm looking ahead towards, it might be a specific moment over the course of the day, or it might be something a little more scripted, like 10 things I'm looking forward to. That's probably what I'm gonna focus on tomorrow. I've done a couple other videos already this year showing my starting place, where I'm starting from. I'm using a 10x8 album. I'm using products mainly from our December Daily collection, along with a few other things added in here and there. And I'm super excited. I'm just really excited to be back here again with you guys and diving into what has come to mean for me just a big celebration, right? A big opportunity for joy in both loud and quiet moments. So diving in, story number one. I actually, if you watched my previous video, my foundation page video, you saw where I did the stamping on this one. So this is how I wanted to start my album. Actually, let's just go back and just show. I've got an envelope in here. I have the Christmas vellum. I have my reasons why, which is embracing simple and then cultivating joy. And I'm really looking, embracing simple to me is like homemade, taking things slow, right? Not being in a hurry. Those are some of the values that I'm really trying to focus on this year during Christmas. So that's coming into day one, which has the back of a pattern paper where I stamped, remember this, less is so much more, magic is something we make each day, and loving kindness for the win. Those are kind of like the big overarching focuses. And then what I wanted to do in the first page here, which is a 2x2 page protector. I also have already added on an Avery index tab along the edge. You can see I have my sticky note there for family photos. I also stamped and embossed this number 1 here, which repeats the plus sign stamp. See, it's on one of these stamp sets over here from the Icon stamp set. Stamp those and then have the third one here, which is a nice repeat. And then what I did a couple weeks, well, not a couple weeks ago, this past week and some today, was I took pictures of all the kids. I've got one of me, and then I still need to take one of Aaron. I haven't had a chance to do that with him yet. 2x2 pictures. I just have each of these kids go outside the front of our house, our White House, and I have them stand up against the siding and I take pictures of them. You don't have to have a white background. You could be, you know, any place, something around your house. A plain wall, I think, is great if you have one. And I just take their picture and I tell them, you don't have to smile, you don't have to do whatever you want, I just want a representative picture. And I want to start out this project with basically a headshot of each person that is in this story. I did this, I think back in 2016 was the last time, 2017 maybe, I did this with these little 2x2 pictures and I loved it. So I like having opportunity to bring it back again, especially with kids that are getting older. So my task for today is simply to trim these out, to take a picture of Aaron, and then to add them into the 2x2 squares here and figure out what other embellishments do I want to add in with that. So that's what I'm going to start doing now. Firstly, just cutting these up. Again, I did take these with my bigger camera. You could take this with your iPhone or any phone that you have. You know, it would be funny, I think, also to like include your pets. I might try to do that later. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what Aaron's availability is. It would be kind of funny to have like him holding up the cat so I could get faces of the cats. We have 2 cats here. So I'm going to go ahead and trim all those out, slip them into the pockets and think a little bit, figure out how many more embellishments do I need to have in here, and do I want to journal anything? That's going to be my main question for today, because I think this might be enough to get me started, and then tomorrow I have this, you know, looking forward to the season tag. What are 10 things I'm looking forward to, and I can work on that tomorrow, along with putting things on the back of the page protector there. All right, so step 1 in this process was trimming out my photos to 2x2. I have the one picture of myself there, but you'll see that I'm going to replace that with a different one. I got Aaron to take one of me and I took one of him, and so I was able to do that before I finished up the page, but you'll get the idea as we move along here. So just using my Fiskars trimmer to trim these down to 2x2. I use Photoshop to crop and edit these before printing them out in the 2x2 size. Couple ideas if you're wanting to use the 2x2 page and maybe you don't have as many people in your family. You could always do like holiday quotes, you could do patterns, you could just do a fun collection of embellishments, things that are making you feel excited about the season. You could also do, if it's just you on your own, you could do a bunch of pictures of yourself, right? Or different funny pictures. So being able to be a translator and think a little bit outside of the ideas that you might see that work for my family that might not be the same kind of fit for yours too. So here you can see after I did the 2x2 photos, what I'm doing next is starting to establish some sort of a design foundation or design formula for how I'm going to put this together. And what that ends up being for me is a group of circles. So I've got a vellum circle from the main kit, a fabric circle that we offered in the shop, and then the third one is a puffy circle from a different kit at some point in the past, but having those big, like 2-inch circles and then layering the canvas pieces on top is basically my formula. What you're seeing right here is the Mink machine, my Mink machine doing a little bit of work here, printing out journaling that I had on an Instagram post yesterday. I decided to use that with this page, so I'm printing it on transparency. I printed it on a laser printer here I have in the office on black, right? Black laser ink onto this laser printing transparency. And then I ran that through the Mink machine. So the Mink machine you need to have a laser printer or get some things printed on laser print paper. You got to have that to be able to use for the Mink different colors and foils to be able to go on top. So I love how that turned out. I'll link that for you guys below. That's just taking the journaling. This was like, as I'm working in the middle of everything else, I was like, oh, I'm going to try doing my journaling on the Mink or, doing the foil on top of the laser transparency. So that's a pretty fun tool. I don't use it all, like throughout the year all the time. I know Heidi, obviously she uses it a lot, but I love pulling it out for this project, especially when I want to have some foil and being able to have a container or a package of the LaserJet transparency makes that happen. So there's a little bit of added journaling that I felt like made sense for this first day and the first story. So I took a detour to do my journaling, and now I'm back with the canvas strips on top of those circles. And what I decided to do was layer 2 canvas strips on top of each other, and then I'm running them through the sewing machine. So you can see right here, I did a little bit of temporary adhesive, and then I have red thread that is on my sewing machine right now, and I'm just doing a little bit of stitching to stitch them together. A lot of this, they don't have to be stitched together to stay together, but I really, really like the texture of the red thread, and so you'll probably see that pop up a few different times in my album this year. So I did that with 3 different sets of the canvas words there, taking them back over to the sewing machine, going ahead and running them through. And then I will be adhering those onto those 3 different circles that I grabbed there. And then I'm also going to add one of these little silver metal stars from Tim Holtz that you can see on my table there too. All right, so you can see here I am going ahead and cropping out the other 2 pictures of Aaron and I. So got all 7 of us included this time, which I am thankful for, and expressed my gratitude to all my people for that. So then I'm going ahead. I've got my canvas pieces stitched together. I am using rolling adhesive to attach the canvas pieces onto my circles. And then I'm adding a little bit of rolling adhesive onto these silver stars that are, like I said, Tim Holtz silver stars. I think I've used some of those in past years too. They're in my stash of stuff. So I've got 3 circles. I have the number 1 that signifies this is my first story. And then I will be doing two other things here. One is I needed to figure out some other something to add into. I have one extra pocket. And so you'll see me tackle that here in a few minutes. But first was just getting all of those circles ready. Now tomorrow, when I do my story for day 2, I'll be it'll be on the back of this page, right? That'll be part of it. So I need to think a little bit about what do I want to have on the back of this one? Do I want to have pattern papers? Do I want to have more photos? Do I want to have, all of those kinds of things are things that I'm thinking about. I'm also thinking a lot about balance when I set something like this up. I wanted to have one circle in each of the vertical rows. These are the things that I'm thinking about as I'm putting these together. So I'm moving some things around, moving some of the people around. I think I end up moving Audrey up one and bring that other circle down one. It's just, some of that is going to be personal preference. I also am using my 6-hole hole punch to be able to get some holes in that transparency, the minked transparency journaling. That will become its own page in this project. That is sized to 4x8. That was how I sized that journaling block in Photoshop before I printed it out. So love the continuation of the green, especially with the green on the big page opposite of it with the stamping. Next up, you're going to see I'm grabbing a couple different sticker sheets that were part of the Advent sticker calendar. So spoiler, if you are opening that up, some of these will be coming later on in the Advent calendar, a couple different sticker options there, which just worked really great even for this first day. One is a tabbed sticker. You might have those in your stash from other projects. I am going ahead and folding it over there, and then I'm going to use a tiny attacher just to staple it in place. I love any of my pages that aren't full-size pages. I love when they have a tab or an Avery Index tab or something like that when you're turning the page. Now, one of the things I like to do when I include pictures of people like this, or even at the beginning of this project, many years I've included the ages of everyone. And so I'm doing that again. I looked through my stamps and I wanted one that had really small numbers on it. And the stamps that I ended up using is one that was called The Art of Noticing. And if we have any more, I'll link it for you guys below. But it was the Art of Noticing stamp set, but you may have other smaller ones if you're wanting to do this. I'm using these little gold label stickers that were also in the Advent calendar, and I'm pairing those, the stamped with stays on ages of my people with these vellum star stickers, which turn out super cute, and then I'm adding them onto the photo. So this designates the ages that everyone will be in December. We have 2 December birthdays, so I let them be their new age. So Elliot's going to be 15 and Audrey's going to be 13 this month. So I added those on there. And then I added Aaron and my ages as well. I don't know about you guys, but it's always hard for me to do the math and figure out how old were we? How old was I in 19, whatever? 19, 20. Ugh, it's going to be a good month. It's going to be a good month. All right. So I'm continuing adding all those on there. Again, it's kind of production work, right? Once I've established some sort of a design formula, then I am working to add all of those different little stickers on there as well. And that's what I'm adding on here. And then the last thing for me is going to be figuring out what do I want to put in that other pocket. I've got one other pocket left available. And I also have been toying a little bit with adding the wreath. That wreath was part of the Advent calendar also. Adding the wreath on top to circle the one like on the outside of the page protector. And that's what I ended up doing in my actual project. So you'll see that happen there at the end. But really loved having some of those stickers. I also then, when I was trying to fill in that other pocket there, I wanted to use a heart, and these were from, I think these are from last year's December Daily collection. At the end of the year, I just keep everything together that I might want to use in the future, and the felt hearts are something that I could easily use at any point in time. So I grabbed one of those. I also grabbed one of these metal tokens from Tim Holtz, another supply that I've had for years. The one that I end up adding on there says Season's Greetings. And I use a little bit of rolling adhesive to establish that on there first. And then I'm going to grab some embroidery floss, red embroidery floss, and use that as an accent and stitch that actually onto that felt heart. Again, I love that pop of red, like looking for for opportunities to add in, you know, a little bit of red thread, a little bit of red embroidery floss. Those tend to make me really happy in this project in particular. I just love those pops of color. So going ahead and threading the needle with the embroidery floss and stitching that metal token on top of the felt heart. One of the things that I love about using these 2x2 pockets is they can be homes for anything, right? And lots of embellishments, photos, words. They're just a great way to get yourself organized around your content. Maybe you have 10 things you want to focus on, or 9 things, or 5 things. I just love the opportunity to have a grid too. I'm a big fan, continue to be a big fan of working in grids. And so these 2x2s are really fun for that. So going ahead and slipping that felt heart inside there, gonna add that wreath on top. That I thought was cute too, and a fun way to emphasize that this is story number 1 for this year. And then kind of doing a little bit of cleanup there, looking at the back. That'll come tomorrow, figuring out what to add onto there. Will be my part of my story for tomorrow. And then just adding it into the album, right? Bringing it, opening it up, sticking it inside there, filling it in. Super, super excited about this one. All right, that is a look at story number 1. Again, this is just taken from Instagram that I posted yesterday, and what I'm ready for, right? Goes along then with the 2x2 page protector here with all the photos of my people, and super excited to be diving in with you guys. We'll see you back here again tomorrow.